Ah! Oh, this thing was stuck in my arm. Ah! Ah!
Asian hornets, large, highly aggressive wasps that swarm together to defend their nests. They've killed 6 people in France in recent years. The Asian giant hornets, a huge winged nightmare hornets of the genus Vespa, are vital predators in their natural habitats. But they may have a terrible influence on agriculture in North America by lowering populations of important pollinators like honeybees. Hornets with their deadly sting also pose a serious health concern to humans. If you want to learn more about these deadly insects, keep watching as we look at the Asian giant hornet, a huge winged nightmare. This is what happens when Asian giant hornets attack. One Japanese couple didn't have to imagine it.
I mean, of all the death by animal scenarios, I think being stung by murder hornets is at the top.
On a warm morning in September, Teru and Kuchi were gardening when they disturbed a giant hornet nest. Within seconds, Kuchi had a dozen massive insects attacking him, each stinging repeatedly. Teru was stunned, too, as she ran for help. However, they were misinformed that Kikuchi had already been dragged to safety and arrived without wearing protective gear. For nearly an hour, the helpless elderly woman was stung over 150 times. The hornets eventually retreated and she was taken to the hospital but died from her injuries. Attack in Shaanxi. The 2013 attack in Shaanxi, China, is the most recent incident involving large-scale Asian giant hornet attacks. It was a combination of unusually dry water in the area, urbanization that moved into hornets' habitats, and a decrease in their natural enemies, such as a certain bird and spider species. Over the summer and early fall, swarms descended upon unsuspecting farm workers and invaded schools full of children. One woman was attacked while looking after her millet crop and described the attack as horrifying. She told a media outlet, "They hit right at my head and covered my legs."
Swarm of Japanese hornets coming at me. I think I'd drop and roll. I think I'd really be trying to completely cover myself so that they couldn't get me.
All of a sudden, I was stung and I couldn't move. Even after 200 stitches and 13 dialysis treatments, the woman was still hospitalized and couldn't move her legs. Thousands of volunteers and police officers were deployed to destroy hundreds of nests. When the dust settled, the attacks in Shaanxi had resulted in 42 deaths and over 1,500 injuries. The hornets hover outside the hive waiting to pick off tired bees as they return from foraging, then in an incredible act of predation, they pick them off in midair. Once they catch a bee, they use their powerful jaws to decapitate them. The hornets then fly the headless bodies back to their nests to feed their own children. The Asian giant hornet, known as the murder hornet.
These things can grow to around 2 inches. That's about this big. Imagine something like this, an avian ninja flying around with a sword.
If they might be in the neighborhood, murder hornets don't usually attack humans. However, they are considered an apex predator at the top of the food chain. They are very aggressive when it comes to other insects. That's where their murderous reputation comes from. But we are not entirely off the hook, so it's essential to avoid them at all costs. These Asian hornets can be found in low-altitude, wooded areas, building their nests in the ground. Murder hornets will attack sites containing honeybees. If you happen to wander into this territory while they are stalking their next victims. Number 1. Run away as fast as you can. Cover your face and seek shelter. If you have to jump in the water, hopefully, you can hold your breath for a very long time, because these flying honey badgers will lie in wait until you surface. Murder hornets can display a warning, so be aware. If you see them flying back and forth, snapping their mandibles or jaws, that's a surefire sign you're in imminent danger. It shouldn't be too difficult to notice what they're doing, because these things are enormous. Murder hornets are the largest hornet globally, with queens growing up to 5 centimeters long, a big size, with wingspans topping 7.6 centimeters. Murder hornets are incredible flyers, reaching speeds of up to 32 kilometers per hour. So if more show up, the odds are stacked against you, and the last thing you want is to experience the excruciating pain of the murder hornet's sting. And if this happens, first of all, getting stung by a murder hornet is like getting punctured by a red-hot nail. due to their long stingers. The amount of venom a giant hornet can inject is 1,100 mcg.
When you get stung by a Japanese hornet, that's a heck of a lot of venom that's being injected, and your body can go into full anaphylaxis.
This venom carries neurotoxins that can kill red blood cells and dissolve skin. It also has kinins, which dilate blood vessels, mastoperin, a toxin, and phospholipase, which breaks down immune cells and causes widespread inflammation. Combining these together creates a deadly cocktail that can degrade blood and muscle cells. This can stop your kidneys from working. If you're not allergic to bee stings, you'd need to be stung by a couple hundred murder hornets before the toxin kills you. And that could happen if you can't escape. Murder hornets won't stop with one sting. They'll continue to relentlessly sting away until they're satisfied you're no longer a threat. Treat a murder hornet sting like a normal bee or wasp sting. And don't rub the spot where you've been stung, as that will spread the venom. Apply ice or a cold compress to the site to lessen inflammation. Seek medical attention. You may seem fine, but don't risk having a bad reaction to the venom. If you know in advance that you could be encountering these flying giants, you'll want to make sure you're wearing the right clothing. With Asian hornets, wear protective clothing like thick sweatshirts and a beekeeper's suit to avoid a hornet's stinger penetrating their skin. Thanks for watching. Would you rather be attacked by a swarm of Asian giant hornets? Let us know in the comments section below.